This is for Effie Conrad. I thought she was the only one on earth. She visited the Pilgrim Holiness Church in Muir, Pennsylvania, an Appalachian town so small it didn't show up on any map. Only reason she came was to show gratitude that our pastor visited her when she shared a hospital room with one of his parishioners. First time I saw her, I thought she was a man. Her sandy hair cut in a crew cut, beige suit and tie, men's shoes. She was there with a woman, a widow with shoulder-length hair. When we all shook hands afterward, I realized she was a woman. Just had to ask about her on the way home. Oh, that's Effie, they said. She's a lessee. Helen works with her at the dress factory. She tried to befriend Helen once, but the girls warned her, don't you dare ever go to her house if she invites you. She straps one on and they say you'll never go back to men. That's what happened to poor Mrs. Schultz after her husband died. She cast some kind of spell on her, they say. Effie and Mrs. Schultz came back one more time. I could barely look at her. I could barely stop. What a freak. Then in 9th grade, when I was hanging out in Mrs. Bieber's class before homeroom, the boys said, Mary and Mrs. Bieber are lessies. I immediately thought of Effie, and even though I dreamed of waking up in Mrs. Bieber's arms, and even though I spent every possible minute hanging out with her, I was no Effie Conrad. Suddenly I understood how Rumpelstiltskin could burn a hole straight through the floor and disappear. Dear Effie, you must be long since in your grave, you and your beloved Mrs. Schultz. Only now I understand how strong this must have been in you to do what you did, when you did it, where you did it. My God, you had the courage of armies. I wish I could shake your hand again, Effie. Because if I could, this time I would not cringe. No, this time I'd say, Effie Conrad, you're the bravest freaking soul on earth. Thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Effie Conrad. And then I'd bow.